Dinar Shift, we welcome you to this special broadcast. Tonight, the financial world is alight with whispers and speculation that could potentially mark a definitive end to one of the most prolonged periods of currency watching in recent history. Across digital platforms and through private communication channels, reports are surging in, suggesting that a monumental shift concerning the value of the Iraqi dinar has finally reached a critical, operational stage. This isn't just a ripple of hopeful chatter, it's a synchronized burst of activity that, within the context of these communities, points to systems finally being prepared for live execution. We are following a compelling, yet still unconfirmed, narrative that suggests the long-anticipated adjustment to the dinar's theoretical exchange rate is now not just imminent, but actively being loaded into global financial infrastructure. The core of this electrifying narrative centers on the alleged go-live moment, a phrase repeated dozens of times across various speculative forums, signaling that the theoretical new rate has moved from policy discussions into the realm of technical implementation. This surge of communicative activity is said to have occurred almost simultaneously across multiple geographical and digital locales, including private discussion rooms in both the United States and the Middle East, which are frequently used by those interested in sovereign currency developments. The synchronized nature of these unverified reports is what is driving the current level of intense excitement, suggesting a coordinated movement that transcends mere individual speculation. While the story remains firmly within the realm of unconfirmed digital hearsay, the volume and alignment of the chatter are creating a powerful atmosphere of climax for those who have followed this story for years. The fictional account further details a scenario where certain top-tier financial institutions, often mentioned in these speculative discussions, such as Chase Bank, Wells Fargo, and HSBC, are rumored to be seeing newly activated, albeit preliminary, placeholder figures for the Iraqi dinar on their internal banking screens. This detail, which is crucial to the speculative narrative, implies that banks are now technically equipped to handle a new, higher theoretical valuation. The story continues by imagining that cross-verified insiders are claiming the Central Bank of Iraq CBI has, with utmost discretion, transmitted these hypothetical preliminary rate indicators to downstream institutions. The purpose of this imagined data transmission would be for crucial system testing and reconciliation ahead of an unconfirmed public announcement. This entire depiction paints a vivid picture of a quiet, unseen financial infrastructure preparing for a massive, structural change long sought by currency enthusiasts. In this dramatic continuation of the narrative, the suspense is heightened by revealing the alleged new theoretical rate that is reportedly showing up on these internal bank test screens. According to the circulating fiction, the Iraqi dinar's supposed new valuation has appeared in the high end of the $3 range. This specific, invented figure is a key element that fuels the intense analytical activity within speculative circles, prompting analysts, private traders, and dedicated observers to meticulously scrutinize ambiguous screenshots, unverified feed data, and whispered tips that traverse the closed network of private message boards. The mere appearance of this figure, even in a hypothetical testing environment, is framed as a massive milestone for the community. To lend this fictional moment a sense of international legitimacy and procedural alignment, the narrative weaves in an invented foreign exchange analyst from Dubai, who is quoted as referencing a specific numerical band, allegedly discussed in confidential, weeks-old conversations, implying a consistent, long-term plan. Furthermore, the storyline introduces the parallel retuning of Vietnam's dong through imaginary SWIFT and QFS channels, adding to the impression of a synchronous, global monetary adjustment. The fictional host dramatically underscores the profound significance of this moment, claiming it represents the first visible movement of this magnitude since 2014, a claim that dramatically amplifies the perceived historical weight of the supposed event. This fictionalized account suggests that traders worldwide are treating these alleged shifts not as mere rumors, but as the unmistakable early tremors of a major financial event. The dramatic backdrop is further deepened by the fictional recounting of Iraq's meticulous preparation over many years, setting the stage for this transformative currency event. The narrative describes a period where Iraq has allegedly implemented comprehensive monetary reforms, worked diligently to stabilize its internal financial system, and gradually aligned its regulatory framework with key international expectations. This foundational work is presented as the deliberate prerequisite for the imagined revaluation, transforming the speculative moment from a sudden event into the inevitable outcome of a long-term strategic plan. This historical framing is designed to make the supposed developments feel monumental and earned. Within this fictional history, the Central Bank of Iraq is credited with undertaking extensive digital modernization initiatives. These include integrating new financial technologies and expanding the reach of digital banking services across the nation, ostensibly in an effort to meet hypothetical benchmarks set by international bodies like the IMF and the World Bank. The story also attributes a massive, imagined growth in foreign exchange reserves to Iraq, placing the figure at over $120 billion. Furthermore, it suggests the country has strategically diversified away from reliance on cash-based trade, with all these steps framed as deliberate actions undertaken to secure a future of increased currency strength and global financial integration. The fictionalized account continues to reinforce the sense of economic readiness by invoking rising oil revenues and referencing an imagined future budget that is denominated entirely in the local currency, the Iraqi Dinar's IQD. This detail, which in reality would require major policy announcements and legislative action, is used purely in the storyline to signal complete national self-reliance and monetary confidence. All these fictional elements are carefully framed as pieces of a grand, intricate, and meticulously planned strategy, culminating in the dramatic go-live moment described in the initial reports. By presenting the current situation as the unavoidable result of years of careful preparation, the narrative cultivates a powerful atmosphere of historical significance and inevitability. The tension of this fictional scenario is amplified by describing the supposed on-the-ground reactions within Baghdad, painting a picture of a city quietly abuzz with subtle yet telling signs that something extraordinary is unfolding behind closed doors. The story imagines scenes of unusual late-night activity at the Central Bank of Iraq, with office windows remaining brightly illuminated long after standard operating hours. Additional security personnel are described as moving with a heightened sense of purpose around the perimeter, suggesting high-stakes financial operations are underway. This imagery is crafted to instill a sense of urgency and top-secret activity among the audience. In this tale, an unnamed staffer is supposedly quoted as informing reporters that teams are working to finalize reconciliation across various international accounts before the stroke of midnight. This statement, though unverified within the narrative itself, is constructed to imply that intricate and high-stakes financial operations are rapidly reaching their conclusion. Further details include ATMs in central districts that are said to flicker offline for brief software updates, a fictional event portrayed as symbolic precursors to a large-scale coordinated monetary adjustment. Local news stations are even reported to be airing vague segments about the dawn of a new economic era, using language that is interpreted within the story's logic as coded hints to prepare the public for an impending, major currency announcement. All these invented elements serve to create a compelling image of coordinated movement and quiet acceleration, as if the entire national financial infrastructure were subtly shifting gears in anticipation of a historic and profound change. The paragraph uses descriptive details to dramatically amplify the atmosphere of tension and expectancy, giving the viewer the sense of standing on the very threshold of a momentous transformation. This detailed, fictionalized depiction is highly effective at immersing the audience in a world of high-stakes financial drama that remains solely within the realm of speculative fiction, divorced from verified economic fact. The focus of the fictional narrative then shifts back to the United States, where major banks are portrayed as quietly mobilizing for the imminent yet unspoken event. The story introduces alleged internal memos, supposedly circulated within certain Tier 1 banking institutions, which instruct branches to be placed on a quiet standby. This carefully chosen phrase is intended to evoke images of specialized operational teams waiting alertly just below public visibility, ready to spring into action. Some customers in this tale reportedly see brief online system refresh notifications, which the narrative frames as possible foreign exchange table updates, feeding the growing excitement. A fictional former bank executive is quoted, offering an explanation that reinforces the sense of coordinated back-end activity. This expert suggests that the reported synchronized system flashes are indicative of new rate feeds being securely imported from central exchange partners. While such claims are presented as entirely imaginary within the overall context of the speculative story, they contribute significantly to the escalating drama, painting a picture in which banks, customers, and supposed insiders alike feel the deep, foundational tremors of change beneath their feet. This coordination across continents is a key component of the fictional momentum. The paragraph dramatically concludes by asserting that in this imagined moment, political disagreements and bureaucratic gridlock are no longer the bottleneck. The only remaining factor is the exact timing of the final rollout, an assertion specifically designed to heighten suspense, while simultaneously maintaining the story's fictional nature. Through these invented details and dramatic framing, the narrative closes this section with a sense of breathless anticipation, leaving readers with the impression of standing on the edge of a global financial shift that exists solely within the speculative and creative framework of the long-running currency story. The psychological dimension surrounding the fictional community's long-awaited RV moment is presented as a central and compelling theme, representing a deeply emotional journey that transcends mere monetary shifts. The narrative acknowledges the years of anticipation, disappointment, renewed hope, and relentless analysis that have characterized the experience of countless individuals across forums, private groups, and investment circles. For over a decade, these individuals have navigated cycles of belief that the breakthrough was close, only to be met with frustrating delays, contradictory statements, or official denials. These emotional highs and lows, according to the storyline, have forged a unique kind of resilience within the community, one that artfully blends skepticism and cautious realism with an abiding, foundational optimism. Tonight, within the created world of this story, the atmosphere is presented as being markedly different. The narrator frames the current energy as electric, charged with an unprecedented level of clarity and structural alignment. This dramatic shift is attributed to the idea that all 5 symbolic indicators, including CBI readiness, IMF acknowledgement, digital integration, rate visibility, and bank-side activation, are now purportedly pointing in the same direction. These green lights are dramatically likened to a meticulous rocket launch protocol, where no single system can show even a hint of red before the ignition sequence is authorized. This powerful rocket analogy is used to amplify the sense of coordinated precision, suggesting that technicians, systems, and global linkages are all harmonizing perfectly after years of painstaking calibration and planning. In this imagined moment, the community is framed as feeling they are not merely witnessing another fleeting rumor or hopeful whisper, but rather the genuine culmination of long-term, structural preparation and procedural execution. The narrative emphasizes that the night's energy stems not from simple wishful thinking, but from a convergence of structural signs that, within the logic of this fictional world, appear more cohesive and aligned than ever before. This perceived convergence lends the story a powerful, internal sense of validation and procedural gravitas. To reinforce the idea of global coordination and analytical depth, the fictional host introduces commentary from 3 invented experts, each representing a different region and perspective. This chorus of voices is designed to solidify the storyline's foundation in international economic consensus. Dr. Mahi al-Rubai, a fictional economist from Baghdad, offers commentary suggesting that the supposed adjustment marks Iraq's genuine emergence onto the global stage as a more economically sovereign actor. His focus is on the nation's economic maturity, stability, and the future prospects of a floating currency model, all of which deepen the storyline's sense of procedural legitimacy and national achievement. Next, Jason Miller, a fabricated former U.S. Treasury analyst, frames the moment as the precise execution phase of a long-term compliance roadmap, subtly hinting that the changes unfolding have been in motion for a remarkable 7 years. His comments are included to lend a tone of technical validation and procedural gravitas to the evolving situation. Finally, Dr. Lee Mai, an imagined Vietnamese economist, provides a regional dimension by suggesting that Vietnam's own reforms were thoughtfully timed alongside Iraq's, offering a fictional backdrop of broader regional monetary alignment and cooperation. Altogether, these invented expert voices are designed to create a chorus of confidence, each reinforcing the idea that the moment unfolding is not confined to one nation, but is part of a broader, synchronized financial transformation. The narrative uses these fabricated commentaries to dramatically frame the event as a significant global monetary reset, rather than a localized, isolated currency adjustment. The narrative extends by inviting the audience to imagine the dawn of a new financial era, painting a vivid, aspirational picture of what the next morning could look like within this fictional world. The host urges the imaginary audience to visualize logging into their digital banking platforms and seeing numbers that once felt like distant aspirations now presented as tangible, updated, and validated values. This imagined transformation is not solely portrayed as a personal windfall for individual holders, but as a powerful catalyst for widespread, positive change within the Iraqi economic landscape. The story outlines a vision of Iraq stepping into a period of genuine prosperity, marked by a massive influx of foreign investment, aggressive infrastructure expansion, and renewed global engagement on a massive scale. The story describes Iraq as becoming a vibrant hub for major energy projects, key technology partnerships, and industrial collaboration, as global confidence returns and capital begins to flow back into the nation with speed and volume. These fictional possibilities are meant to evoke a strong sense of hope and national transition, not just for the investors watching from afar, but most importantly, for the Iraqi citizens whose nation, in this narrative, is finally poised to reclaim its economic independence and strength. By framing the shift as an era defined by abundant opportunity, widespread innovation, and long-term stability, the host underscores that the imagined revaluation is far more than personal wealth. It is a collective rejuvenation of national pride and global relevance. In a motivational shift, this section acknowledges the emotional endurance of those who have followed the storyline's unfolding events over the course of many years. The fictional host speaks directly to the imaginary audience, emphasizing that each long-term observer has endured uncertainty, weathered intense skepticism, and faced moments where walking away might have seemed like the far easier option. The fictional narrative frames this persistence not as mere financial speculation, but as a profound testament to character, describing their commitment as the distinguishing trait between passive dreamers and active believers who were willing to stake their hope on a vision of future transformation. This emotional moment is used to highlight the universal theme of resilience, underscoring the idea that truly major rewards often arrive only for those who maintain their course despite challenges, delays, and repeated waves of doubt. The paragraph serves as a motivational reflection, asserting that the individuals tuning in are witnessing a spectacular validation of their perseverance, standing at the very edge of a historical turning point within the fictional world being crafted. This encouragement is designed to deepen the emotional resonance of the story, reinforcing the idea that the journey has always been about much more than just financial expectation. It has been a sustained test of patience, discipline, and profound belief. The host's tone builds a powerful sense of empowerment, encouraging readers to view themselves as central protagonists in a broader saga of endurance and eventual triumph. The final section approaches the story from a practical angle, presenting a fictionalized checklist for participants preparing for the imagined exchange process. The host encourages individuals to keep their physical currency meticulously organized by denomination, not because this guidance reflects actual verified procedures, but because it adds a compelling sense of realism and structure to the narrative's internal logic. The imaginary participants are further advised to have 2 valid forms of identification ready, a detail that reinforces the notion that the upcoming transition involves formal, structured, and serious protocols. The narrative warns against hastily signing any contracts, non-disclosure agreements (NDAs), or complex agreements, urging readers to take their time, review all terms carefully, and consult with independent professionals if needed. This advice emphasizes that discipline and caution are essential virtues, even in moments of intense excitement. The paragraph encourages readers to stay alert for official communications from their banks and to strictly avoid sharing sensitive appointment details online, weaving in a necessary sense of operational seriousness and security. Ultimately, the narrative stresses the paramount importance of emotional steadiness, reminding fictional participants that prosperity, whether literal or symbolic, brings with it a unique set of responsibilities. The host's parting message highlights the enduring theme that the journey towards significant wealth requires unwavering clarity, calm judgment, and steadfast self-control. In the context of this fictional world, these guidelines help close the chapter with a sense of grounded preparation, carefully balancing the intoxicating excitement of imagined transformation with the necessary discipline needed to navigate it wisely and with integrity. Invented analysts in this fictional narrative predict that a revalued Iraqi dinar could rapidly boost the nation's entire gross domestic product (GDP), thereby attracting foreign companies eager to secure lucrative contracts in construction, energy, technology, and banking. A stronger, revalued currency in this storyline symbolizes a fundamentally stronger Iraq, stabilizing regional trade dynamics and encouraging long-term, structural investment. Within this imagined moment, the United States is said to benefit from increased returns on its past investments and gains new leverage in critical oil and economic partnerships with a newly strengthened Iraq. In this powerful, imagined scenario, Iraq's rise is framed as becoming a significant catalyst for broader global economic growth and stability. The host delivers a final, heartfelt reminder to listeners that this journey, spanning years of waiting, was never just about money. It was, at its heart, about vision, faith, and the courage to believe in a nation's eventual recovery and total transformation. Choosing to stand with Iraq in this fictional account symbolized an unwavering belief in renewal after hardship and conflict. The reflection emphasizes the timeless adage that even the longest, darkest night eventually gives way to the dawn. Bank insiders in this final, fictional scenario are reported to have confirmed that the new rates are fully loaded but are being held under a strict hold and release protocol until global settlements can finalize. This crucial process is usually said to take place during the late night hours, specifically between 11 p.m. and 5 a.m., which is what inspired the now famous phrase, millionaire morning. By dawn, the audience may finally see official, public confirmations from major banks or the Central Bank of Iraq, effectively closing the final, long-running chapter of this protracted currency wait. The host closes with profound gratitude, honoring those who held on through persistent doubt and widespread criticism. This momentous time in the story is portrayed as the direct result of personal resilience and collective endurance rather than mere luck or chance. Listeners are strongly encouraged to look in the mirror tomorrow and truly recognize the depth of their own strength, with a final piece of advice to use their blessings, whether literal or symbolic, wisely, responsibly, and with profound integrity. The closing statement is full of hope, powerful encouragement, and the promise of a glorious new beginning now firmly on the horizon for those who have waited patiently for this fictional climax.